All right, we got to be smart about how we start here on Cardinals Underground. I don't want to get into a, deficit here on the scoreboard. 16 seconds in. All brought to you by Pacific Office Automation. Paul Calvisi, Dani Sureck, Darren Urban. So the game plan off the top we script out the first 15 or so of the podcast, Dani. I don't know if you knew that.
You guys don't script it with me because a lot of times I'm left speechless by the open.
It's sort of a general royal we, I guess. Actually, I made that up. But I'm not going to go with either wise guy because that would not be winning behavior. We won't go with that either. We definitely won't go with the weekly picks, even though I haven't looked at them yet. Wait, oh, that's not good. We definitely won't start with that. Darren,
Yes.
I don't know. Where is your energy considering you've already gone to the coffee and we're 16 seconds in? So, you know what? You are at a deficit right now, 7-0. You're losing.
I am at a deficit.
Yep.
Got hit with a little bit of a bug, feeling okay. But it's one of those deals where you get up in the morning and you're like, oh, I think I'm past this. And then as the day goes on, you start to realize you're not.
I did tell Darren he needed to up the energy for the podcast because that's what he's known for, is bringing the positive energy.
He's the effort guy, the try-hard guy. Is that what he is? That's what he's known for?
The sarcasm is strong with this one.
All right, I'm going to start with a quote. You tell me which head coach had the following to say. You ready? When I tell you I'm responsible for that, I'm responsible for that, and then the players have to do the same thing and take care of the small things. Why are we having the penalties? And then let's fix that. And don't point to the officials and don't point here or there. Take responsibility for it. End quote. Then he goes on to talk about the fundamentals and little things that everyone can do to do your job. The author of that quote in the last 48 hours here in Week 12, Andy Reid of the Kansas City Chiefs, who are now 0-5 in one-score games and have been, wait for it, beating themselves. 2 more words, self-inflicted. So the little things become big things in the NFL. Cardinals are a prime example. But if you look at a lot of teams that are on the outside of the playoff picture looking in, guess what? There's a good chance they're suffering from the same not what Darren's suffering from. I mean, you can't solve it necessarily with coffee, but there is a remedy if you're a head coach.
It's interesting, as you were reading that quote, I hadn't heard that or seen that online. I'm thinking, it feels like I shouldn't say Jonathan Gannon, but is that what he's setting me up for? But that's what we've heard from not just the Cardinals head coach, but players as well. Jacoby Brissett was talking about that post game of the details. And I asked him, are those things you can practice in the week? Is it things that are just showing up in the game? And he said, no, we can work on them during the week. But when you talk about details, 17 penalties committed by the Cardinals. That is just, it's not acceptable. It's not a trait that we have seen under a Gannon team. It's not something we've seen from this team this year. Especially those pre-snap penalties. Those are what the coaching staff considers non-negotiables. Now, a penalty during a play is not something you want, but the team prepares for those, right? You study the officiating crew and what they might call, but to have pre-snap penalties, as many as they did, by as many players as the Cardinals did, it's tough when you are the one digging yourself in a hole. We'll get to some specific plays, but when you've got Bam Knight with a 60-yard touchdown run and it's called back for holding, and then the quarterback throws an interception on the ensuing play, it's tough when you are getting in your own way.
Yeah, there were 12 on offense. There were then, 3 on defense, 2 on special teams, but you also had the pre-snap, the illegal formations, you had encroachment, you had illegal shifts, illegal 2 false starts. In fact, if speaking of quotes, here's Drew Petzing. It can't happen. Lack of detail, lack of focus to me. Ultimately, that comes back to me. We got to harp on it in the meeting, continue to harp on it, got to get out of the huddle, got to get on it. Pre-snap penalties can't happen. That's your offensive coordinator. And just to your point, Dani, it's not just JG, it's Nick Rawlis. It goes into focus in carrying out your assignment. And then 2 more questions into his press conference this week. Mentally, we got to be on our assignments. So I think it's pretty clear. A lot of it is the focus, and a lot of it is what the coaches are harping on. And a lot of what we saw, and I think this makes it difficult to diagnose a little bit, is because it is different guys at different times taking their one turn.
That's frequently what it is. Whenever you're talking about mistakes, I mean, when you talk about it's different guys at different times, we hear about that during the year when the offense isn't clicking. It's one guy blocking here, it's one guy running his route there. I don't want to say, I mean, obviously the penalties have not been great all season, but I mean, 17's an outlier, and
they had 7 in the 2 games prior combined.
It's tough for me in the moment. It's terrible. Big picture, it's tough for me to get super worked up. They absolutely committed some penalties. They absolutely did. There was other ones where it's like, Paris Johnson doing a karate chop on a 49ers pass rusher, and the guy falls down, and then for some reason that's a holding penalty because I guess the official thought he threw him to the ground or whatever it is.
As A.Q. Shipley said on the broadcast, that's not holding to me, that's finishing a block.
Yeah, so I some of those things you kind of wonder about. But at the same time, and this is why the penalties kind of get to me, because I'm like, most of the penalties were on offense. Well, defensively, you weren't stopping the 49ers either from scoring points. I mean, that's too many points. And so ultimately, I think it kind of goes in that whole same vat of that they're just not playing well enough right now. And you can find multiple things that they need to get better to win games.
And Jonathan Gannon, it's interesting, he said a couple of times, he doesn't consider penalties a winning stat, at least not on par with like the turnover takeaway battle.
And what he means by that is he doesn't think penalties are what wins and loses games.
Right. Yes. But then he did also admit when it's 17-1,
of course,
when it's that lopsided, yes, that's definitely a factor in the outcome of the game.
That's like saying time of possession isn't a winning stat unless it's 40-21 game, and then you're like, okay, that probably cost us.
There are certain things a coaching staff can do during the week. At the end of the day, it's the players that are out on the field executing. I look, when the team falls 7-0, 16 seconds into the game, and then early on struggles to stop the 49ers offensively, mentally there's going to be emotion. You're going to want to really step up your play, right? Because you want to make plays. You don't want to allow the 49ers to keep putting points on the board. That extra oomph of wanting to play well was not met with still having the good technique, was not still having that mental fortitude of, yes, I want to take it up another notch, but I'm still going to play good, clean, disciplined football. That's where things got lopsided. You saw that on special teams as well. That hasn't been an issue all year for this special teams unit, and to have multiple penalties by that group is not something we've seen. It's just, it was back-to-back weeks of the Cardinals falling behind early and not being able to dig themselves out of a hole. You can't let a team beat you twice. And the fact that the 49ers game started so similarly to Seattle makes me wonder if the Seahawks game beat the Cardinals twice.
It's funny when you say that. I think, well, the Cardinals beat the Cardinals in a lot of ways in both those games.
Yeah, just as true.
Like, for example, on the special teams, obviously special teams goes a long way in field position, and the Niners' average starting field position was the 47-yard line. It was dang near midfield. They had 3 touchdown drives that started in Cardinals territory. So it's tough. I mean, there's defense has been put in a couple of tough spots here, obviously, the last couple of weeks. And then which makes it even more difficult is we calculated in the last 3 games, 35 points have been put on the scoreboard that has had nothing to do with the Cardinals defense, basically. 2 fumble returns for touchdown, a punt block for touchdown, 98-yard kickoff return that went to the 1. Next play gets punched in, and there was another play somewhere attributed to special teams. So that can be deflating. I talked to Rob Fredrickson about this on the Red Sea Report, a guy who spent a decade on that side of the ball, because the defense is judged first and foremost on a scoring defense. And when there are points that get put on your ledger that you had nothing to do with, that can be a little vexing.
Yes, although I find it interesting that after the game, Jonathan Gannon essentially, we started by saying I'm a defensive head coach, so that's kind of where my strength is supposed to be. And I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially said, doesn't matter where the ball is, you got to find a way to mitigate points and or get stops.
Maybe he's talking to the defense.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
He's trying to tell him, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's a tough deal, but wherever they get the ball, you got to defend, every blade of grass sort of thing.
There was a stretch last year when things were going well where the Cardinals, even if it was whether it was a short field or they gave up a drive, okay, but the other team wasn't getting touchdowns out of it. I mean, if you hold them all, and there was a couple drives for the 49ers who just got field goals, but, you keep them out of the end zone a couple times, it changes the complexion of the game.
And look, the Cardinals are top 3 or top 4 right now in forced fumbles. But in terms of interceptions, oh, man, you need 2 hands to count how many times a pick has gone through the hands of a Cardinals defender. And so that's tough as well. You got a Jacksonville team coming in, and we'll get into the Jaguars, but they've been top 3 in takeaways all year. They had 13 takeaways in the first 4 games. They have 13 interceptions right now. So for whatever reason, they've been ball hawks, and they've been coming down with a lot of opponents' passes. But there are certain things that are correctable, and there are certain things that are concerning, Dani. Our want to put it into one category or the other. So the penalties are definitely correctable. Now, when you look at the line of scrimmage, and, the thing that's also, I believe, vexing, not for the defense but for the offense, is when you get behind on the scoreboard, guess what? You come out of your game plan to a large degree. You want to have a balanced offense going into Seattle, going against the 49ers. Seattle has that crazy pass rush. Well, what's the best answer? Nice run game between the tackles, go straight at them. 49ers, without so many bodies on the defense, I mean, you can't even name. They're total unknowns on the Niners side of the ball. Even when they had Nick Bosa and Mykel Williams in week 3, the game plan was to run between the tackles because the Niners' interior defensive line is not the strength of that defense. But once you get down by a couple of scores, guess what? You're throwing it 80% of the time.
Hence, Brissett set an NFL record with 47 completions in the game. He threw the ball 57 times. The fact that it didn't come out he needed Tommy John surgery is crazy. Look, the Cardinals all year have struggled to run the ball. And I asked OC Drew Petzing about that Tuesday morning of what else can be done? What else do you need to do these last 7 games? And he actually said he thought the Cardinals ran the ball pretty efficiently this week. But that can be true, right, on certain plays. But the fact that the Cardinals finished with 36 rushing yards, it's tough to win a game when you're not balanced. Now, the score played a large role in that, of the Cardinals being behind early and you're going to throw the ball. But that has been the big question mark all year, is with the continuity of the personnel. Even when you had a healthy James Conner and Trey Benson, this run game was not going the way that it needed to, not going the way that a run-first offense needed it to go to open up the rest of the playbook. Now they're going to be facing a Jacksonville defense that's number 2 against the run. They're giving up less than 90 yards a game on the ground. So the fact that Trey Benson's practice window has still not been opened, I've got dozens of people in my Twitter mentions every week asking why I'm not talking about Trey Benson at practice, because he's not practicing.
As we record this, you never know how the week's going to go.
Right, but as of Tuesday, his practice hasn't been open, so you're going to continue to rock with Bam Knight, who has looked good, but why is this run game not going? That's what's been the question. So yes, it's great to see that Brissett had 47 completions and the receivers stepped up. The offensive line did not allow a sack, albeit against a 49ers defense that was not generating a lot of pressure coming into the game.
Dead last.
They're still not hitting their marks in the run game.
Yeah, this Jacksonville defense will be a lot closer to what the Cardinals saw in Seattle than it will be against San Francisco. And then if you're minus Amari DiMercato, your best pass blocking running back on third down.
A guy who, when the last time he missed a game, JG made mention the fact that they missed him in pass pro.
Yes.
Against the Packers.
Yes, and it was Quay Walker who came off the edge. Like everyone was worried about Micah Parsons. It was Quay Walker off the other side where the running back had the responsibility quite a bit in pass pro, and that did not go well for the Cardinals running back room minus Amari DiMercato. Let's put it that way. So we'll see what happens against Jacksonville. But we did see Michael Wilson. And we saw, I believe the rest of the NFL saw Michael Wilson. A lot of us figured, okay, he was capable. Not sure to that degree. 15 grabs for $185 and 18 targets, the most receiving yards by any receiver in the NFL this year. He even said in the post-game interview that, he proved something to himself. He admitted that. And so we appreciated his honesty after the game. But, man, there's no doubt, right? The term I learned this year, I don't know about you guys, was flow state, when you're playing and not thinking. He definitely achieved flow state.
Props to you, Paul, because first of all, doing those interviews post-game of the locker room show, which, you can find on our channels and our website as a podcast, it's tough, especially when the team is losing the way they have the last couple of weeks. But your interview with Michael Wilson was great. And Wilson is great in every interview. You can tell he went to Stanford. Yeah. He is incredibly insightful and intentional in what he says.
His answers are a lot better than our questions, but thank you.
I appreciated the honesty from him, though, of saying, look, the most important thing in the end of the day is a win or a loss. But the fact that I had this opportunity and I performed the way I did with this opportunity, I'm going to be proud of myself. I'm going to be proud of what I put on tape. And we still got to see the Michael Wilson we normally see on that 60-yard touchdown run that was negated by a penalty. He had a crucial block to allow Knight to get to the end zone. To see Wilson perform the way that he did, really the way he has the last couple of weeks, has been great and has provided him that validation. He said he hasn't played that well since high school.
I got a couple things that pop into my mind. Number one, make no mistake, Michael Wilson has always felt like he could do stuff like this. But he's also the ultimate team guy in terms of like, I'm going to do whatever they ask me to do. I'm going to do my role. But he absolutely felt like he can do stuff like this. And I go back to when he was a rookie. When he was in college, he trained with T.J. Houshmandzadeh, the former Bengals receiver. And I remember getting T.J. on the phone after Michael was drafted, and Houshmandzadeh insisted, and I'd have to go back and look at the class, that Michael Wilson was the best wide receiver in that class.
Whoa.
Now, seems to me there were some good receivers in that 23 class. I'd have to go back and look, and obviously Michael's stats have not been there, but just on the general idea of the fact that you had this ex-pro who felt like Michael Wilson could be a really good receiver, and to really see it for an afternoon pay off like that. Now, there was a lot of factors involved. No Marvin Harrison. The 49ers had the big lead, so maybe they're playing a little bit differently. You mentioned their pass rush wasn't great. Okay. But still, getting 15 grabs for 185 yards isn't nothing.
So, quick AI search here. The best receivers, 2023 NFL Draft, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
He's pretty good.
That's a ding. Quentin Johnston, not so much.
No.
Jordan Addison, not so much. Zay Flowers. So, you know what? Yeah, Rashee Rice was in that. So, yeah, not exactly a banner crop of receivers that year. You could definitely, by the end of this year, who knows? That's something that Houshmandzadeh may be speaking into existence right there. That's because here's my question. Okay, there's what we saw. That was, let's say, now he's never going to get 18 targets in a game again. I think I feel pretty confident in that one, okay? He's never going to get 15 catches in a game again. But if you get into a regular game that isn't lopsided, a balanced game where there is the threat of the run and play action, I think there's even more upside on Michael Wilson. Sustainability.
It wasn't just, I don't want to say, quote-unquote, easy throws or catches. Wilson was making more times than not. They were acrobatic catches. He was turning his head. He was making adjustments mid-throw. He was shaking a defender off of him. He was making one-handed catches with a defender on his hip. It was incredibly impressive. That was the first real time Wilson had the opportunity to be a true number one receiver. When he was a rookie, Hollywood Brown was here. And then after that, it was Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, when you're talking about not getting 18 targets, they still have tight end Trey McBride, right? So when you have McBride and Harrison and then Wilson, you're right. He won't be the number one go-to receiver on a lot of the plays, but he did prove that he can be a threat, and I'd like to see him targeted and incorporated a little bit more moving forward, even when Harrison makes his return.
Regardless of future targets, regardless of 15 for 185, I think Michael Wilson, and this is something that I've thought all along, not everybody has, even in this room.
Don't look at me because I did not say draft a wide receiver this offseason.
I believe there was some conversation about signing a number 2 receiver from other people here. Yes?
Other person here, Darren.
pointing that direction. Is that what we're saying?
That's not correct,
This
Paul.
direction?
Yes.
Is that really?
Yes.
You know what? I'd love to argue that, but my compromised short-term memory.
Oh, dear.
I don't really. I'm remembering
Brainworm there.
I'm remembering his breakout season, or his breakout game, his rookie season, which was the first game at the 49ers' first month of the season.
2 touchdowns.
Was this last game his best game since that game?
So I actually did a little thing before the game Friday, my Friday before post, and I talked to Michael because, I went to him and I said, what are you thinking going in? And he goes, look, I really don't want to make this more than what it is. Because he knows that once Marvin is back, they're probably going to go back to what they had. But I was asking him the last time he was wide receiver 1, and he did it a couple times at the end of his rookie season. The last game of the 2023 season against Seattle, you may know that as the game Matt Prater missed the last-second field goal to sew up the idea that they could even draft Marvin Harrison.
Right.
Michael Wilson was the number 1 receiver in that game, 6 targets, 6 catches, 95 yards. So he's done some. I mean, not like he did Sunday, but he's done it before.
But you know what? Either you can make the contested catch or you can't. I'm not sure that's a learned behavior. Sort of like a quarterback in accuracy. Very few quarterbacks get better.
I thought that with Josh Allen, and I feel stupid now.
Yeah, and he is the exception, and there's no doubt. But you could count on one hand how many quarterbacks have made significant
John Skelton, Logan Thomas
in accuracy. I didn't, not necessary to name names here, Darren.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, John and Logan.
So, I mean, when that breakout game he had his rookie year at the 49ers, his first month in the league, he made a lot of contested catches in that game. So right there you knew, okay, that's probably the toughest part of any adjustment for any receiver going to the NFL. Everything else you can sort of work on. All right, speaking of whose direction, Dani, you want to get cultured? Here we go. Dani, we'll segue to you.
Getting cultured with Dani. It is not just directed at Paul.
Am I the default uncultured Philistine around here?
Yes.
You got me very excited now.
I am on social media and consume more pop culture than both of you combined.
I think I'm being unfairly profiled, but go ahead.
Let's go. So I might have to cruise through these a bit. Normally, it is requested that I have closer to 2 or 3 bullet points, and I have 4 because Darren cannot put me in a box.
So you're going to run
I am not
up-tempo.
someone who is supposed to be
Can I put
set
you in a
within
corner?
boundaries.
Same.
No.
All right, no huddle. Darren,
So here
get
we
on
go.
the line
Look
of
alive.
scrimmage. Here
we
we go.
Look alive.
All right.
Paul, have you heard about the MLB betting scandal involving 2 Cleveland Guardians?
Yeah, the first pitches of an inning. Yeah, a
Yes,
little bit.
Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, accused of rigging games by the types and speeds of pitches for gamblers to profit, starting back in 2023. So Clase supposedly, 1, was texting bettors during the game, and
my
2,
goodness.
his actions benefited the bettors $700,000. Ortiz's was $60,000. He came in later. But Clase's friend said that the calls intercepted by the FBI were actually for rooster fighting, not for rigging.
Oh, well,
games.
that's way better. Little Jerry Seinfeld.
I mean, all right. How many times has it happened where the guy didn't bounce a 55-footer that made it so blatantly obvious that they started investigating the first pitch of the inning? How many times have pitchers with precise placement of baseballs and control been able to throw a ball and or a strike, and we have no idea? How prevalent has it been?
This is true, but this is where the human element comes in, Paul, because if you try and put it just outside and these umpires say ring them up, then you just screwed the whole thing. And we've seen umpires make bad calls.
Yes, okay. There's nothing more factual you'll say all podcast.
True.
Leave it to Cleveland. Okay, GameStop is having a trade anything day on December 6th. Here's how it works. For one day, you can show up with an unusual item instead of a typical game or console or gaming accessory, and you can trade it in. Now, there are some restrictions on when you can or cannot trade in.
Well, wait a minute. Can I trade in like an old muffler or something, some car parts? Can I empty my garage? Can I show up?
Well, listen, these are some of the things that are excluded. Hazardous waste, chemicals and liquids, lithium-ion batteries, or any item that contains one. Weapons and ammo are not allowed. Dead or alive animals are prohibited, although taxidermy is permitted.
So my stuffed otter.
Absolutely. It's all fair game.
Cheeto?
Well, no, that would
Is
be
he
in a live
stuffed?
and well,
Oh, okay.
We don't know what's happened to
Yeah,
Cheeto in
I
the
guess
past
I
week.
Yeah.
pulse check on Cheeto. Next on the list, have either of you seen the Apple iPhone Pocket that was recently
Okay.
released?
I think I've heard of it. I have not seen it.
Oh boy, Paul.
A pocket for your iPhone?
Really gonna grind your gears. Although
Uh-oh.
Paul doesn't have an iPhone, so maybe this doesn't relate to him.
Oh, also good.
It
Good
is a
point.
piece of cloth that has a large hole to either sling over your arm like a purse or over your shoulder that just holds your phone. But it's designed to allow your iPhone to peek out of the top so you can show it off to people. I'm not dumb, Paul.
It's a marsupial?
The short version goes for $150. The long version goes for $230, and they are sold out.
Of course they are.
That is consumerism at its finest.
Because you Apple consumers, you're not consumers, you're cultists. I mean, they can just go ahead and sell you anything at this point with the Apple logo
I wonder
on
if
it.
the Android would fit. Okay, last on the list. This is the most important news, so everybody tune in. Vine is coming back. Thank the gods above. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey is rebooting the beloved app, short videos only, and they will not allow AI.
Can't they just reboot Twitter? Can't Jack just reboot Twitter?
Well, technically, Twitter doesn't exist. It's X.
Okay, so reboot it, for God's sake.
Get your priorities straight,
How are
Jack.
they going to really filter out the AI?
We're in deep trouble, everybody.
Well,
I
you've
mean-
both been cultured. You're welcome. That's all I've got.
Okay, there we go.
One of our off-season episodes, we can make half about AI.
You know what? My disdain for the Apple product line is akin to Jacoby Brissett when someone asked him about 47 completions and 400 passing yards in the context
I
of a
promise
loss.
you, I could not care less.
That's right.
He promises that he couldn't care less.
I
That's
could-
even more than not caring less.
I'd throw for 3 yards in a win, I believe was the follow-up quote as
Going to
well.
be tough to do that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
You want a balanced offense.
Yeah. I mean, look, someday, in his rocking chair with grandkids around him, he'll tell the story of 47 completions in one game. But, yeah, when you're on the losing end of a lopsided final score, doesn't feel so good.
I like Jacoby Brissett a tremendous amount. I think he's a great guy. I like talking to him. In press conferences, though, like, is he going to tell his grandchildren the story in the same way he kind of answers questions in press conferences where every single answer starts with,
Darren, look, the whole, the players say...
I totally threw him, didn't I?
No, the players say he has that unk vibe about him.
Oh, yeah. Which,
But he's only 32.
That's the problem.
Which in the context of NFL quarterbacks is not ancient.
No, and it's not even super old for this team, for goodness sake, when you've got Calais Campbell walking around, but he does have that vibe. Now, I can't go there. I'm feeling like you can't feel like you can go there
No,
either.
I'm not going there.
He's a youngster.
Yeah.
Whew, thank goodness.
I mean,
You're a youngster too, Dani.
Thank
I
you.
think it was Michael Wilson. It was Big Red Rage recently. We said, now, wait a minute. And I think it was Michael Wilson because he was the one who said that Jacoby Brissett had an unk vibe. I said, well, does that make 39-year-old Calais Campbell? He said, unk plus. That was his response. Or it was Cody Simon. Okay, there we go. So that's good. That's why I have AI in my ear in the form of Jim Almohandro, who, by the way, had his 500th game broadcast. How about that? Light the lamp for that one.
I don't want to take away from Omo, but I had passed 500 at some point. I don't remember all his celebrations.
Shoot, congrats to Darren for
Darren.
however many games he's worked.
But here's the difference, Darren. Okay, he's dealing with needy broadcasters, high maintenance guys
true.
like Ron Wolfley for 20 years, and so really you got to grade that on dog years. So he's over about 700-800 broadcasts just based on that sliding scale.
I want to know how many times Omo in his working life has gone to bed after 3 a.m.
That's right.
for his job.
Yeah,
I know there's been plenty of times he's done it for personal reasons, but
the response from the booth is hundreds. So something like that. Yes. All right. So Jacoby Brissett, what else can the man do at this point? Anything?
Protect the football better. The 2 interceptions against the 49ers, they were plays that, not fair to say they've broken down, but he was hanging the ball for quite a bit and he was scrambling. The one right on the sideline where he went for Elijah Higgins, miscommunication of maybe what he wanted Higgins to do there, who stopped and sat on the sideline, and he was jumped by a DB. And then that one for a crazy return. Wasn't until Michael Carter thankfully got the return man to the ground.
There's no worse feeling than a talented DB on a return and a bunch of offensive linemen trying to track him down in the open field.
Yes.
Yeah.
No bueno.
And then the second one, which the question's been asked to multiple players, to the head coach, to the OC, about whether or not it was the correct route or they were running the same route. Of you, Greg Dortch and Xavier Weaver running routes really close to each other, and Brissett threw the ball behind Dortch, and there were 2 or 3 defenders right there. Again, seems like that was miscommunication or maybe the right call, but a bad throw. He has to be better protecting the ball, and he has been throughout his career. Interceptions are not something that have plagued him. So to have 2 in a game, to have a couple of interceptions the last couple of games, needs to be smarter about where and when he's getting rid of the ball.
Yeah, until Seattle, he had the NFL's lowest career interception rate, just a notch below Aaron Rodgers. Now, I'm guessing he's a notch above Aaron Rodgers after the last 2 games. We'll see. But, I mean, the NFL research stat is first player ever to attempt 50-plus passes in a game with an 80-plus completion percentage. So that's crazy, where you throw more than 50 passes, but you're completing it better than 80% completion rate. That's something Drew Petzing cited. So now let's see, if you get rid of the illegal motions and the illegal shifts and the false starts, the 6 holding penalties, it's amazing how when you get behind the chains, you get behind on the scoreboard.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing how that happens.
Look, you mentioned earlier about how they didn't run the ball very well or didn't run it very often, and it's not untrue, but at the same time, when you're gaining 500 yards of offense or whatever they were close to getting,
Yep,
and
488.
most of it was through the air, and the other team can't pass rush, why not?
Yeah. But again,
that's Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden days.
But again, and we talked about this after the game a little bit, you're going against a 49ers team that you knew was going to be on the details. Jonathan Gannon said it in his TV show. What do you think of when you think of Kyle Shanahan? The details. Whatever quarterback's in there carries out every play fake. It doesn't matter. You don't recognize the names in the back of the jerseys. Doesn't matter. They're dialed in. They're focused. They're well schooled in the system. So when you go in and you might have more talent on the field than the depleted 49ers, even considering your significant amount of injuries, but if you're not beating them in terms of the mistake department, you're apt to lose and lose badly, because Shanahan and 49er teams over the years, they will not beat themselves. And so that's what you're getting in this division right now. Sean McVay, you still have to see him twice. It's amazing to hear Nick Rawlis say, not only is Liam Cohen a direct disciple of Sean McVay in that system, which he has tweaked, and he's added some unique features to it in his own style. Every single opponent the Cardinals play the rest of the season has an offense or a scheme you can directly connect to Sean McVay. That's how influential he has been. So you hope for the Cardinals, for the sake of the Cardinals defense, that playing McVay twice a year, every year, helps you out, at least in terms of fitting some of these offenses and schemes you're going to see over the next 2 months.
Cardinals haven't even faced McVay yet this year.
Yeah. I mean, so
are you trying to say that they're going to get some practice against McVay before they get McVay?
They will. Absolutely. Yes. And in fact, Jonathan Gannon
We're
says
looking
that
for
this
silver
week on his
linings
TV
here,
show.
Paul.
Yeah. So, I mean, I figure that's a benefit. You're not going to now. Liam Cohen, and what is he doing? I mean, supposedly all these coaches, some point earlier in their week, will watch the Rams game film to start. That's how well regarded McVay is, and what he's doing, what he's innovating, and what the rest of the league is adapting and adopting from his scheme. So we'll see. Now, in terms of Trevor Lawrence and that run game that Jacksonville has, they just rushed for 4 touchdowns and nearly 200 yards, and they have a 1-2 punch at running back. They have a 4th-round rookie to go along with Travis Etienne. They have a really big offensive line that's playing really well, according to A.Q. Shipley. And so it's going to, now they added Jacoby Myers at the trade deadline to go along with Brian Thomas Jr., who was a Pro Bowler his rookie year, but he has fallen off here in his second year. He was 19th overall, I believe, after you had Marvin and Malik Neighbors and Rome Odunze. And then Ladd McConkey was after Brian Thomas Jr., but So you're going to see a Jacksonville team that, once again, right now, if the season ended today, would be in the postseason.
Jacksonville did not punt once Sunday against the Chargers. So that's a team that's rolling. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence he's a good quarterback. He's just someone who has been inconsistent. He's thrown a lot of interceptions, same way he has touchdowns. But this is a Jags offense that is well balanced. And so it's going to be a tough challenge for a Cardinals defense that's coming off 2 really tough weeks against 2 really good opponents. This is a prime opportunity, though, for me to remind both of you that in the summer when we did our early predictions, Darren predicted the Cardinals would go 3-0 out of the bye, so that's wrong.
Thanks.
Paul predicted that the Bucs-Cardinals game would get flexed to primetime, which is technically still a possibility, but very, very slim at this point because your reasoning was Baker Mayfield against Kyler Murray, and Murray will still be on IR, so that's wrong.
You're right. I was, just disqualified from. You can't count that.
Now I predicted that the rookie Travis Hunter would not be a two-way player by the time they came to Arizona. Don't shake your head, Darren, because he's on IR, so he technically will not be a two-way player. So I'm giving myself the crown on that one.
Such a splitting of the hair.
Light the lamp, Paul.
Yeah. Okay. I will. I'll give you. I'll give you. I'm looking for the quote from. Here it is. It's when they drafted Travis Hunter. It was the next day. Liam Cohen, the brand new head coach, said, "Quote." We want it to look like what it looked like at CU, talking about Travis Hunter. That would be pretty good for us. We know that he's going to be able to do both. We feel that in our bones, was the direct quote. What do you think they're feeling in their bones right now?
I think they're feeling like they got a chance at the playoffs. I mean, could that turn out to be no bueno when it's all said and done with how high they took Travis Hunter? Maybe. But, on this podcast, Paul, we only talk about who's playing, not who's hurt.
I see.
So,
okay. Yeah.
I'm fascinated. When we talk about the Jaguars, I'm fascinated to see, what it looks like. We don't see the Jaguars here too often. I mean, what is it? This is only
last time we saw him was 21, but that was at Jacksonville.
No, last time we saw him here was 17. That was Calais Campbell's first game back.
Yep.
In 2017, Cardinals won that game with Blaine Gabbert. I think the last time they were in Arizona before 2017, and I know Oma will correct me because he always will, I think that was the 05 game. And as we were talking about earlier today, Anquan Bolden getting a couple of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties for jawing with a Jacksonville player and having to take a ad out in the Arizona Republic back then to apologize to the fans.
And the only thing better than that was the fact he was mic'd up. And so we actually got audio of just how intense, we'll leave it there, how intense Anquan Bolden was.
But this is only the third time Jacksonville has actually visited here since 2005.
And you know who we'll see this week? Former Cardinal, Dennis Gardeck.
There you go.
Oh, that's right, the Barbarian. I forgot about that.
Gardecky.
One more Jacksonville story for me. My first season covering this team full-time, I was at the newspaper 2000. Vince Tobin got fired during the year. Dave McGinnis took over at the end of the year. Their last road trip was to Jacksonville. And the Jaguars were still pretty good in those days with Mark Brunell. They had started terrible, but they finished really hot. Didn't make the playoffs, but absolutely boat raced the Cardinals in Jacksonville. I think they had the ball 9 possessions. They scored 8 possessions. In the last one, they didn't score because they were trying to run out the clock. They went 50-some yards and burned the last 9 minutes of the game, and they ended up kneeling it out. That was, for me, the infamous Pat Tillman angry in the locker room telling me and Kent Summers, anybody around here wants to bitch about the pain. We have to show them the baby. I'll never forget that.
So, and on that note, more Jacksonville trivia. It's time for Wise Guy.
It's time for The Wise Guy, the world's fastest growing Cardinals quiz show. The stakes are low, the winner gets absolutely nothing. Here's your hostess with the mostest, Dani Sureck.
Okay, this should be a fun one.
Always is. I'm going to go with number 2, Danny.
Oh, ready off the bat. Here we go. At his introductory press conference, new Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen famously shouted, Duval? That was a pretty good...
Yeah, that's going in the open on Sunday.
Yeah, that was a pretty good comparison there. What does Duval refer to, and why is it a rallying cry for players, coaches, and fans?
aren't the Jaguars in Duval County? And so, yeah.
Yes.
They're hyping up the area.
Yes, a lot of pride.
Just like we always say, Maricopa. Okay, we don't do that.
I'm waiting for the supporting actor question from a sitcom that was set in Jacksonville in the 80s.
See if you get it.
Number 3.
If this is a sitcom question, I will love everything.
I can't ruin it for you. Just tune in for
Actually,
2 seconds.
You know what? Number 3 is usually the most difficult. I
Well,
shouldn't have picked 3, but now,
No, I
let's
thought you were
go.
going to ask to change.
Yeah.
Nope, here we go.
He
Lock in,
was,
Paul.
but-
This former NFL defensive end began his career with the Eagles and later signed with the Cardinals during the Buddy Ryan era. Why are you laughing?
Okay,
Okay, here we go.
Focus.
Here we go.
Over 2 seasons in Arizona, he recorded 17 sacks and a pick 6. He then joined the Jaguars in 1996, adding 16 more sacks over 2 seasons in Jacksonville. Who is he?
Eagles to Cardinals to Jacksonville.
Yes.
Seth Joyner.
Incorrect.
Not Clyde Simmons.
Oh, it sure would be, Darren. Career 121 and a half sacks.
How many sacks did he have with the Cardinals?
17.
I did not know he was that effective here. Okay, my bad.
Clyde Simmons had 17 sacks in those 2 years?
By the way, here's my Clyde Simmons story. I was working for the paper and flag staff. Cardinals would come up there for training camp. So I'm 23 years old, whatever it was. I wanted to do the story of Clyde Simmons and Seth Joyner. Seth ended up sitting with me and another reporter and having like a 25-minute interview, so it was really awesome. So then I wanted to go get something from Clyde Simmons. He wouldn't talk to me. And as a 23-year-old reporter, I didn't know what to do. I think he gave me one like half sentence, and he's like, "Yeah, that's all." And he walked away from me.
Okay, so as a considerably older reporter than 23, what would you do now?
Come on, Clyde, work with me. I'm trying to do a story here. I'm too old for this. Can you beep that? Yeah.
Back to Wise Guy, Darren. Question 1 or 4?
1, please.
This popular nu metal band formed in Jacksonville and broke out in 1999 with their album Significant Other.
No, I know this.
The album reached number 1 on the
Might come to you, Paul.
The album reached number 1 on the Billboard 200 and included singles such as Nuki, Break Stuff, End Together Now, and Rearranged. You can tell I did not write this question. Their frontman is known for frequently wearing a red New York Yankees cap.
That's enough.
I didn't hear that last part, Danny. Could you please repeat
Their
it?
frontman is known for frequently wearing a red New York Yankees cap.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit?
That's correct.
Did you know it before the last red hat tidbit?
I was going to guess Limp Bizkit after the first one. In fact, honestly, I was about to say Limp Bizkit, and then when she said the red cap, I'm like, I don't think that's it. I don't ever recall seeing him in a red hat.
That's all he wore until the very end.
I never pay attention to those guys.
Let's do this last question for fun because we don't play
still got it.
Jacksonville often. Here we go, Paul. In 2013, this wide receiver appeared in 3 games for the Cardinals and 7 for the Jags. One of his 3 receptions with Arizona came on the first career pass thrown by cornerback Patrick Peterson. Who was this receiver?
I have no idea. I totally zoned out. I didn't even
Yeah,
hear the first
time.
half of the
Oh
question.
my
He's angry about Limp Bizkit.
No, I totally zoned out. I didn't even hear the
Paul,
question.
lock in with me here.
I'm trying to figure out where
here
we're
we
going
go.
next.
Let's go. Eye contact. I need to make sure you're in this. You're refusing to look at me.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sure. In 2013, this wide receiver appeared in 3 games for the Cardinals and 7 for the Jags. One of his 3 receptions with Arizona came on the first career pass thrown by cornerback Patrick Peterson. Who is this receiver?
That was BA's first year.
Oh, my God.
Wes Borland. He's the guitarist
Sorry.
for Limp Bizkit.
Taylor?
Do you know the first name? Carrie Taylor.
Carrie, that's what it was.
Harry Taylor.
Carrie Taylor.
Oh, my
I could
goodness.
see his face.
Okay. Yeah, that's a
Darren
tiebreaker
with the
question.
win.
That's definitely a tiebreaker question.
Well, that wasn't tiebreaker. That was just the regular 4.
That's,
Feeling good about myself, everybody.
That's what's important
The
here.
coffee helped.
Okay. Can I have
I'm
some of
bringing
that?
the energy.
Can I have some of that? That sounded a lot like Costanza, which I think I need to do on my picks because,
Doing the
well,
opposite,
first thing
Paul?
I need to do is, A, go the opposite, B, spend more than 30 seconds on my picks because I brought up the rear. again. And let's see, I have a 1-game lead now on Dani after I went 500. I'm surprised I even went 500. It definitely felt worse than that. And the two of you went 9-5 in week 11. So
I've got 100 wins now, everybody. 153.
Whoop to freaking do, Darren. Could the listeners hear that laugh by Omo in the glass? I sure hope so.
All they care about is getting clips for Sundays. That's all they care about.
So I think my plan now is to, in many areas of life, most in particular this podcast, is to finish strong like B.J. Ojulari. There's my segue.
There you go.
B.J. Ojulari.
You got a sackle that'll never count, Paul.
Technically.
Why not? It's a play. It's an offensive play. Why does somebody get Mike Hellman here? Why does that not stinking count in the box score?
Well, I mean, it doesn't count because them's the rules. I mean, just like Jacoby Brissett's 47 completions is an NFL record, even though by himself, even though Ben Roethlisberger did it in a game too, but Ben's came in a playoff game, and they're separate. Okay. Just like I'm sure B.J. Ojulari might be among the league leaders in 2-point conversion sacks now.
But we'll never know.
But yeah.
But he isn't because it's not a stat. It doesn't count.
Well, Paul, they don't count the stats in the NBA Cup games either.
NBA Cup, come on, there's no way.
I know you're a big fan of that.
NBA Cup. I've
seen commercials. They care a lot about that.
I know. I saw the promo and they're trying to hype up the NBA Cup. And you know what? I laughed harder than I'm laughing now when I saw the promo to hype up just how much it supposably matters.
I got to be honest.
Cup.
Yeah, but when you watch those commercials and you're seeing like Trae Young and Karl Anthony Towns and like when they, I mean, I'm sure they're paying him a substantial amount of money to do it, but like aren't part of them thinking,
I just had an epiphany. You ready for this? Calvisi Consulting, the Paulie Pigskin Division.
Is this to make money?
Somebody get my guy Raj on the line. You want to make the preseason somewhat relevant, somewhat meaningful. The NFL preseason will now present, wait for it, an August Cup. There needs to be like the August Cup.
Oh, the Ravens will never lose then.
And you know, just get a nice slick commercial that they produce out on, you know, Fifth Avenue in New York, and they get just hype it up.
Paul, I gotta jump in here. I don't usually jump on the air, but the Cardinals and Chiefs, when the Cardinals were in St. Louis, they would play annually, and they had a trophy. It was called the Governor's Cup.
In the preseason?
Both teams in Missouri.
There
so
you go.
Preseason game,
okay.
Cardinals, Chiefs, Governor's Cup.
Yeah,
and there's photos of people hoisting trophies.
Preseason was a lot different back then, too, though. Guys actually played.
Well, they had 6 preseason games. That's how I always rip Wolf. I go, Wolf, did you play when they had 6 preseason games? Oh, knock it off.
The times when I've talked to Omo's dad, John, who was the forever trainer of this franchise, about when they would report for training camp right after 4th of July.
Oh, jeez. Can you imagine?
Oh, I can.
I mean.
And it is a nightmare.
Yes.
2-a-days, 120-man rosters.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Over 100 degrees, over 100 guys on the roster. Yeah, the 2-a-days. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where that's what training camp was all about.
Well, it was a long time ago.
The 2-a-days.
We're with somebody here that thinks flip phones are nostalgia.
They are. I still had one, but I do find them nostalgic. My first phone was a flip phone. It didn't have an antenna though, which made it really cool.
B.J. Ojulari made a fantastic comeback. He played 23 snaps on defense, 13 on special teams, and considering how long he was out, it was a nice comeback. And I'll be curious to see, quite frankly, how the playing time all fits when Baron Browning is back in the lineup.
It had been so long since fans had seen Ojulari on the field that the last time they saw him, he was wearing number 18, which is obviously worn now by Harrison. And Ojulari is now number 9. He hadn't played a game since the 2023 season finale.
Okay, so dreaming is free. Best case scenario, B.J. Ojulari is what sort of player? Give me a comp. Give me an NFL comp. Go into your personnel bucket. Go into and tell me, okay, if everything works out, this time next year, B.J. Ojulari is akin to whom?
This is a high bar. I'm saying if
dreaming is free. Here we go.
John Abraham.
Really? Wasn't John Abraham a much thicker, bigger dude? Different style.
I mean, he might have been a little, but by the time he was here, I saw him as he was an outside pass rusher. I mean, Well, who are you dreaming about?
I don't know.
Paul?
I'm racking my brain. We need to get like Dave Sears down here. Someone help
I
me
mean,
out.
BJ is not a small man.
No. Man.
I haven't obviously covered the team as long as you two, so my breadth of Cardinals pass rushers is much smaller. I think when you look at the skill set of, he's tall, but he's leaner for a pass rusher. We hear a lot of praise specifically for Ojulari's length and his bend. Those were a lot of things we heard praise about with Dennis Gardeck. But when you're talking about dreaming is free, when I started, you had Chandler Jones, which allowed Marcus Golden to really rack up some good numbers opposite because Jones required so much attention. Different body types for sure between Golden and Ojulari, but if you've got a Josh Sweat on one end and you're talking about dreaming is free, have Ojulari be that back-end player who doesn't get as much attention from offenses because
You're talking about
Sweat
so
would require so much.
You're talking less about then comparable to the player as the player and more about the results.
Production,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I just looked it up. John Abraham was 6'4", 260. BJ Ojulari 6'2", 250. So, yeah, I mean, different size.
So I went to AI. You looked it up. I went to AI and just said, give me an NFL player comp for BJ Ojulari. The first one, it said Azeez Ojulari.
Duh.
Okay, all right.
What is this AI garbanzo beans?
I think we need to do what Vine is doing, which is saying AI is not allowed on Cardinals on a round.
The other two, David Ajabo and Noah Spence. I think we can dream
for
a
a
little
minute there, like
beyond
AI
that.
was being a little like
I mean, dream beyond
racial there, wasn't it? Like, come on now.
So look, it's I pose that as a genuine question. I obviously am without an answer. I should have been more prepared.
You're no lawyer.
I should have been more prepared for my
I
own
always
question.
know the answer to your question.
But I do look at him like, okay, who or what can he be? We just haven't seen him in so long. Like you like to think that, okay, you look at a player and you sort of have a sense of what he is or what he's going to be. But with BJ Ojulari, I don't know. I mean, is he a 3-down player? Is he more of a rotational pass rusher? I mean, is he a dude who you can really rely on? And when you go against a run-first, cram-it vertical team who's going to set a tough edge?
I mean, let's face it. At this point, you don't have 3-down edge guys. I mean, Josh Sweat, you're paying him all that money. He only played 25 snaps the other day. They rotate. That was the question we kept asking even before Josh Sweat signed, we kept asking on here, like, if they ever get a big-time pass rusher, does that change how they do things, or are they going to keep the rotation? Well, it's clear they kept the rotation.
All right, so speaking of, we'll end it with this. Outside guys, no one quite has sort of the body type as Dennis Gardeck, the Barbarian. Are you guys going to try and find him on the field before the game? Danny, you're down there before the game.
Absolutely. I'd love to say hi.
You going to find
See
Dennis?
if he makes me do the strobe celebration again, which he's made me do too many times on camera.
That's true.
Excellent guy, Dennis Gardeck.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just all the community work he did. Every time there was a community event for 7 years, he was out there seemingly.
Yeah.
Every time.
So, yeah, if you're at the game and you have a chance to stand and applaud, if Gardeck somehow gets his name called or whatever, we highly recommend doing so.
Yes.
Very deserving. So, other than that, guess what? I'm going to have to work on my own focus for next week, especially in certain areas. Got to elevate my game. There's still 7 weeks to go.
Are we winning behavior today?
Oh, once
Speaking
again.
of focus.
That's it. Here we go.
I see you. Let's go. Can you display winning behavior? You have to consistently display winning behavior.
That's winning behavior.
You got to define what winning behavior is and hold people to that standard.
Yes.
We can make it quick today.
All right. Who's gonna? This first one here, the Spitgate now with Jamar Chase and Jalen Ramsey. My goodness.
All I know is
this has to end. This trend better end.
Why did he appeal after the video? If you see the spit, you can't acquit.
How long were you holding that
I
in?
had that last
Wow,
night. I
we
texted
can-
a couple
all
people
right.
at workshop.
I think he has that written on his
That is
screen.
not winning
actually.
behavior for those who have Jamar Chase in fantasy football leagues.
That's
'Cause
not
now
winning
he's suspended
behavior
for next
Jamar
week.
Chase.
Yeah, very costly. What, over $500,000 based on his salary, right? So very costly. Okay, you're not going to be able to pay that with pennies, which are no
They're
longer
going
being
bye-bye.
minted.
What happens if you pay for something in cash, which I guess doesn't really happen often anymore, and they owe you a couple of cents? What do they owe you, 2 or
Well,
3 cents?
pennies still exist.
Yeah, for now. Eventually,
now.
eventually the plan is that consumers lose again, as the retailer will just round up to the nearest.
Or round down.
Oh, great.
Aren't nickels next? If you're nickel, aren't you looking around the corner?
So if I remember the story, each penny costs 4 cents to manufacture. Each nickel costs 14 cents to manufacture. So nickels are next.
What about the sense of nostalgia of a penny, Paul?
Nostalgia?
That's worth way more
We're
than
gonna
4
glue
cents.
it onto our flip phone.
By the way, the Power Poll of Incompetence, YouTube TV, and Google and Disney have been removed for now. After they resolved their carriage dispute.
Did they? I haven't seen that.
Yes, they resolved their
You didn't
carriage
see that?
dispute. I thought you said you're a YouTube TV subscriber.
I am.
You've been too busy to flip on the screen.
I really haven't watched a lot of TV the last couple of days, actually.
You've been on
anyway.
Vine.
It's not back yet, Paul.
I'm sorry.
Why the attitude?
All right, so Darren, this is not good for you. Sam Levitt leaving.
Look, there's reports now that Sam Levitt is shopping his services and might enter the transfer portal. The Arizona State quarterback who's out for the season could have come back next year, whether it's to ASU or somewhere else. I get it. It's just so, I mean, as it is, there's so much of college basketball that I've completely lost interest in because the rosters completely turn over from a year-to-year basis. And football to a certain extent, and as an ASU fan and ASU alumni, you finally get somebody in here that's pretty good, but that's where we are. I'm not even mad. I just
Disappointed.
I don't even know if it's that. I don't know if I'm going to care as much. It'll be a year to year. Like I feel for Kenny Dillingham, who's trying to build something, when the reality is it's almost impossible to build unless. I mean, I saw the. Did you see the private equity stuff for the Big Ten? So the Big Ten is talking about not winning behavior, in my opinion, by the way, bringing in private equity. And all the schools except for USC and Michigan are thinking about doing it. Well, I saw it today, and I'm like, okay, they're probably going to do it, except like 3 schools like Ohio State, Michigan, and somebody else are getting like $190 million. There's like 3 other schools getting like $133 million, and then all the rest of the schools get $110 million. So like the conference is going to enter into this agreement, but you're automatically like subjugating these schools with way more money. Like, what's the point? What are we doing here?
Well, first off, get in line behind my alma mater, which the number 1 pick in this draft and the Heisman winner was our quarterback until last December when Fernando Mendoza transferred to Indiana. We lost our quarterback to Indiana football.
Cal. He's talking about Cal. Everybody.
And he was gone even before the bowl game, so get used to it. It's going to get worse for you, by the way, when after the season, Kenny Dillingham and Sam Levitt will be poached. You watch.
It might happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it might happen
like
with
a
Dani,
threat
too,
over
because
there.
we have a certain coworker who has a certain high-profile school that has an opening, and he insists that Eli is going to be their next head coach.
No, but then he can't end every interview with MIZ. That would be awkward, not being at Missouri.
What about being at the mall or at a store with a dog?
I put this on
Paul wrote this
before I had a discussion with Dani, who's now beyond herself because she couldn't get a dog.
You don't need to bring it up.
Okay, but I'm in Scottsdale Fashion Mall, and I looked it up later, and apparently it is dog friendly. But man, that I cannot stand going.
Describe the dog.
In the dog, I saw at least 6. In fact, one wasn't even on a leash. What? Why do people need to take their effing dogs into the mall?
But Darren,
or the Home Depot or whatever.
But the dogs are so cute to the owner that they have to share the dog with the world because everyone shares their feelings about their dog. Yes. How can anyone not love my dog the way I love my dog?
So irritating to me. So,
yeah.
One time when I was
I thought this world was cultured.
Well,
sorry.
But Darren, you're going to Fashion Square Mall, to be seen anyway. So what do you care about the dogs?
I do agree that I think it has gone too far. You don't need
I thought
to.
you said it was going to go to the dogs.
No.
Anyways.
That taking your dog everywhere has gone too far.
Yeah.
There was a time when I was a server in college, the restaurant I worked at. I walked outside. They were sitting at a table outside. I walked out with waters, and there was a stroller, and I was expecting to see a human, and I did not see a human in the stroller. And I remember thinking, What on earth?
Okay,
do you
again-
need to roll your dog in a stroller for?
A dog-friendly patio at a restaurant, totally get that.
Sure.
When I'm walking amongst mall stores, the Gap, or in Scottsdale fashion, like Gucci or whatever the heck that.
Were you in Gucci when you saw a dog?
I didn't go. I'll be honest, they're not in the stores, and I don't know why you would let a dog in the store. They're just walking around like, come on.
Darren's trying to shop for his Rolex at Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall, and
Can't be bothered with
he's
dogs.
got this poodle, getting in his way. The
I would
whole
never.
thing. All
We
right.
went there for dinner. We had to walk around.
All right.
I realized I was tired at 6 p.m. It was really sad.
So we had a driving rain to start today. I'm less than a quarter mile out of my own neighborhood. I pass a young woman jogging in a driving pouring rain. Props to her. And then a dog owner walking their dog in a driving pouring rain in the neighborhood. Okay, all right. These people are resolute. They're definitely tougher than I am. Mental toughness, mental acuity. I have a lot to work on for next week here
Got
on
to get that
Cardinals
script ready.
And how much of that was scripted today, Darren? That line? Admit it. You had it on a prompter there.
Which one are we talking about now?
You know, the one about spit or quit. You
Again,
admit it now.
I
You can
workshopped
say
it last night with
Yeah.
close personal friends,
Right,
and
okay.
I decided I needed to use it.
All right, Johnny Cochran. Here we go. That'll do it for this edition of Cardinals Underground, brought to you by Pacific Office Automation.